This week on SUNUP, trees are shaking again after several years of setbacks. We'll check in on pecan harvest. Then, Glenn explains why a good body condition score is so important for heifers in their first calving season. And benefits of equine therapy for both the rider and the volunteers. All this and much more on SUNUP.
Hello everyone and welcome to SUNUP. I'm Lyndall Stout. This time of year around the holidays, there's really nothing better than a freshly baked piece of pecan pie. But it's definitely been a year of challenges for pecan growers. That's why we're here in Rogers County today to take a look. It is harvest time in Bill Clark's native pecan orchard, the first harvest since the ice storm of 2006.
Well, when we came in with this ice storm, it looked like a war had been in here with bombs, and it took us a year to clean up, and the trees are just now growing back. It takes them 5-6 years longer to put out more growth, and we still have dead limbs up in the trees. Last year we had a crop set on, but the dry weather, they just too much stress, and they dropped off in the same way as most everyone else in northeastern Oklahoma. They thought they had a crop and suddenly they were gone.
But this year the pecans made it, though once again weather is impacting the crop.
These are filled out, they're just fabulous. It's going to take more time for them to run them through the process of getting the meats out. But this is absolutely smaller than normal, and it's going to be kind of a tough sell to sell some of these to the shelling companies that we send. But at what price they will buy them, we're not sure, but it's going to be a lower price than the farmers are going to be satisfied with. But they realize if they have a small pecan that they're going to get a pretty large deduction on price.
So the challenges continue, but for Bill, there are no plans to walk away. In fact, he'll be here in Rogers County, spending quality time with his trees.
Once it gets a hold of you, you can't turn loose. So that's I'd rather be doing that than out mingling with the crowd. It's just it's pleasant to see these young trees coming on and wait 12 to 15 years they finally produce. And it's just an exciting time, like you're growing a young baby up.
Now for a broader look at the crop, we turn to Rogers County Extension horticulture educator John Hasse.
Well, from the resources I have so far, because it is still early in the season for harvest, it sounds like we're going to have a decent crop. The pecans are going to be smaller than normal, but the yield is going to be fairly large. And that's great for Oklahoma because we really haven't had a crop at all for at least 5 years now. So it is encouraging in a way to have a decent crop, even though, like I said, the smallness of the pecans this year, which are hopefully not going to happen, but you never know with the droughts and stuff.
Okay. What kind of advice are you giving to growers right now as far as the basic care and kind of keeping the momentum going?
Well, they're asking, a lot of them are asking basic questions. You know, I'm working with newer landowners that may have just a few pecans or have several acres of them that haven't been around pecans before. So, you know, the basics of just realizing that it's a fruiting plant and that it needs the basic needs of water and pruning and care, fertilizing, and you know, if they're running cattle under them, how to manage that so that, you know, they get the nutrition as well as the cattle do. So there's just the basic steps that you know, you would think that anybody would know, but you know, I can't take anything for granted, and I want to make sure that they understand the basics. So that's what I usually try to concentrate on.
Okay, and of course there's fact sheets that are put together and really give you those steps that you need to manage your operation, and it's all based on science. So that
Right.
information is available.
Yes, and I've been, you know, dealing with pecans and in extension for a while now, and I even had a job at OSU when I was, you know, way years ago in the pecan lab, and you know, it's just amazing how much research Oklahoma State has done in the pecan research area. And the wealth of fact sheets we have is immense. I mean, we've got 7 or 8 just on pecans, so that's a great resource to either, you know, talk to your county agent about or go online and get a hold of them for the basic knowledge and grafting and different things.
You mentioned the trend of people that are sort of new to the industry. There really is some potential money making there if you manage it right.
Yes, there is. It's just like with any crop or land. I mean, if someone raised cattle, you know, and they had the native plants there, like pecans, and they weren't really thinking about it, but they managed them correctly and maybe took a little extra care or learned fertilizing on them and things like that, they could help. It could help with their supplementary income in ways they didn't really realize. So yeah, it can really be a good add-on for them.
Okay, John, great pecan advice. We
All right,
appreciate your
thank
time.
you.
And for a link to those fact sheets on raising pecans, just go to our website, sunup.okstate.edu.
Certainly we realize that we have short hay supplies, short in terms of standing forage in many of our pastures as we go into the winter, and that of course will relate to the fact that feed is going to be very expensive this winter. But that doesn't change the biology of the beef animal. And I think that's important to remember as we go through this winter season, especially with 2-year-olds. If you've got some bred heifers that you plan to calve out in late winter, early spring, it's very, very important, I think, to continue to find some way to get enough feed, energy, and protein into those heifers to where they calve in a good body condition. We like to use a body condition score 6 as our target for 2-year-olds. The picture on the screen gives you an idea of the fleshiness of a body condition score 6. Compare that now with this particular heifer that's just too thin at calving time. Why is it important that they be in good body condition? Well, I think there's 2 really, really important reasons. Number 1, that heifer that was too thin at calving time is going to take a much longer time between calving and when she will return to heat cycles to have a chance to rebreed for her second calf crop. And if you have a confined 60 to 90 day breeding season, she very likely may actually come up open at preg checking time next year. Also, the heifer that calves too thin will not have enough first milk, enough colostrum that contains those immunoglobulins, the only disease-protecting antibodies that her baby calf will have to help him get through the first few weeks and months of life, especially to escape such things as scours, and will perhaps be short in terms of helping him be protected against bovine respiratory disease if he makes it to weaning time and eventually goes on to wheat pasture or a feedlot. So for those 2 reasons, I think it's really important as we go through this winter season to work hard, figure out a way to get enough nutrients into those bred heifers to where they calve that body condition score 6. They'll rebreed better for us next year, and they'll raise a healthier calf this year. We look forward to visiting with you again next week on SUNUP's Cow-Calf Corner.
Joining us once again to talk about the latest in the livestock markets is Darrell Peel. Darrell, here we are, we're well into the holiday season now, so let's take a look back at the fall, kind of help us see what's happened.
Well, I think this fall, in terms of the timing of our sort of normal fall runs, has been pretty typical. You know, we did see kind of the relative seasonal increase in calf marketings in late October and November, and the same thing with the cow side as well. You know, it's different this year. We don't have the numbers that we normally would have. And so on the calf side, we have seen these calf prices weaken a little bit this fall because we don't have any wheat pasture. And all things considered, you'd have to think the market has held up pretty well, because for the lack of wheat pasture that's out there, a normal fall run would have caused even more pressure on these prices. And so it's indicative of the tighter supplies. On the cull cow side, you know, again, we're not running anywhere near the numbers we had last year. And even though we had a seasonal increase, we didn't see the price drop, and prices have held up very well on these cull cows because there's a strong meat market behind those cull cows at this point.
All right, so then as we head into winter, what are you keeping an eye on?
Well, I think our challenge, again, going forward, and will be for the foreseeable future, is on the demand side. Because of the tighter supplies, we've actually seen wholesale middle meats come up a little bit. The end meats are holding at least at last year's levels, and the chucks are higher than last year. So, you know, there's the boxed beef price, again, is pushing up against that sort of demand ceiling that we've seen all this year. And that'll be the challenge going forward. You know, even though it's not a strong beef demand time of year, because of the seasonal tightness in supplies, we actually might expect to see these boxed beef prices move up a little bit, but because of the demand ceiling, that's a real challenge. If it doesn't happen before Christmas, then we'll be looking for it, you know, in the first quarter of next year to sort of break through that and move demand up to a level that more accommodates the level of cattle prices that we're seeing and will see in that time period.
All right, so then advice for producers as we head forward, what should they do?
Well, I think most cow-calf producers, obviously we don't have a lot of stockers out there this fall, but I think on the cow-calf side, we're still very much on the defensive mode. It's all about production challenges. You know, do we have enough forage? More importantly, do we have enough water to get through the winter? And if you look at the forecast and the conditions right now, we're still in a very severe drought. There looks to be no real relief in sight. So I think producers have to be thinking ahead to, you know, what do I have to do to continue in this? You know, what adjustments am I going to need to make? Am I looking at some additional liquidation of animals, particularly if we go into next spring dry? It's just a continuing battle on the production side. Prices won't be a problem. If you have something to sell, I think they're going to sell well. And so it's not about marketing this year, it's about production.
All right, good advice as always. Darrell Peel, Livestock Marketing Specialist here at Oklahoma State University.
Hi, welcome to Shop Stop. Today we want to talk a little bit about hydraulic safety and using cylinders and hydraulic jacks.
Okay, for example, if you've got the header up on your combine and you're crawling out under it, or if you've got your baler opened up and you're going to crawl into it to clean something out, there's some safety stops generally provided by the manufacturer that you need to put in place.
Let that safety stop drop down, and it prevents the cylinder from collapsing in case you have a hydraulic line break or somewhere get a leak in the system, because if that happens, it's going to come down really fast.
So if you're working on a piece of equipment that doesn't have a safety stop, you need to provide something like a jack stand or some blocks to support it while you're crawling under it or working on it.
I think the key thing to remember is do not trust the hydraulic system to keep keep things up in suspended state, because when those systems fail, it happens really fast. Things come back down.
Can be catastrophic.
That's it this week on Shop Stop. We'll see you next time.
Joining us once again, our grain marketing specialist, Kim Anderson. Kim, I'd like to talk today a little about the volatility we've seen in the market in recent years in terms of the prices being higher now and more volatile. Why does that happen?
Well, you know, we've been talking about prices moving in this 92-cent sideways pattern, and it's been in it since July the 13th. What you got to look at is, let's go back, 2 years, 3 years when prices were down around the $3 level. If you got a 10% price move with $3 wheat, that was 30 cents. Now with near $9 wheat, if you get a 10% price move, that's 90 cents. And so what we saw back a couple years when we had lower prices, you had 30-cent channels. Now we've got $9 wheat, we have 90-cent channels. So we really don't have more volatility, but we do have variability. in the market, because also in the last 5 years we've seen prices move from about $3.08 up to as high as $12.58, or about a $9.50 spread. And there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of volatility in that.
All right, let's talk about that uncertainty, because it certainly can lead to some indigestion for producers as they watch prices. How do they manage that?
I think producers should just produce a good quality product. They got to realize they're not marketing wheat. They can merchandise wheat, they can sell wheat, but they market land, labor, capital, and management. It's those assets that they're going to use to generate a profit by, on that land. Let's just take land, they're going to produce canola or wheat or corn or beans, the crop that's going to produce them the highest profit. So they got to concentrate on do that, and they're going to make that money in their office with their pencils, budgeting out and figure out how to best use that land, labor, capital, and management.
All right, so focus on your own operation. Don't worry so much about the market. But at the end of the day, you do have to sell your product if you're growing wheat or another livestock, grains, whatever it may be. So what do you suggest they do there?
Well, my philosophy is that price is going to take care of itself. Yes, they can use futures and options and forward contracts to manage price to a certain degree, but price will take care of itself. What they have to concentrate on is producing that quality and generating the profit from the assets.
All right, good advice as always. Kim Anderson, our grain marketing specialist.
Now we want to take you to a place that's truly special for the northeastern Oklahoma community. It involves horses and those with special needs.
There you go, good. Good balance, excellent.
Stacy Brooks is in her element.
Can you go backwards? Can you go backwards?
Her weekly riding lesson at Bit by Bit.
There you go, very nice.
A therapeutic horseback riding center just outside of Claremore, Oklahoma. Amanda Brooks says her big sister loves it here.
I love seeing the smile on her face. I love seeing that she's happy.
Each riding lesson is tailored to fit that specific rider's needs.
Trista Milliman is the lead instructor.
All the activities we do, we incorporate into the riding skills so that they're riding the horse, but they're working on the things they need to work on, like Stacy with her balance and her hand-eye coordination.
Stacy is one of more than 1,000 riders who've taken lessons here since it all began 17 years ago.
We started with one horse and 4 kids and myself.
And it grew from there. Founder and director Linda Barron says therapy horses need a certain personality.
We take our horses on a 45-day trial basis because not every horse can do this. And we put them in different situations that will be similar to those in class. And then we talk and decide how they have done. It's a very confining role for a horse in that them being a flight animal, to have a person in front, 2 people on the side, and then perhaps a rider that is not in the position that they're accustomed to on a regular ride, it takes a very calm and gentle horse.
It also takes committed volunteers who get training and certification to be able to work with horses and those with special needs.
But it also allows our individuals within the community to support a program and to come together to benefit others. You know, we always talk about the gratitude that you get when you're able to volunteer, and this is just one option that those that may have a equine background to feel like that they can be part of a really meaningful organization.
But each day at Bit by Bit brings new challenges.
Some days you have a really hard lesson. It doesn't always work out the way you want it to, and then you see someone like that just have an outstanding day, an outstanding ride, and you see all their confidence, and it makes it all worth it. It's the type of job that it doesn't feel like a job because you're playing around with horses and these kids all day.
Sometimes it's almost magical what happens in this arena. We have families that say, you know, my child never used his right hand because he was tactily defensive until he held the reins. Those are the things that we're trying to do. We're trying to take the skills that we build with the horse and our staff and volunteer and make their lives better, their everyday lives better.
And in this season of giving, that may just be the best gift of all.
She's not scared to take on things now that she's been around horses more, riding them more and stuff, and getting to do the activities that they get to do here. She definitely has opened up more, and her self-esteem is very much boosted.
Good job. Good for you.
Good.
Hi, I'm Al Sutherland with your Mesonet Weather Report. Thanksgiving reminds us to take some time to consider what we are thankful for. A number of folks have told us they are thankful for the Oklahoma Mesonet. Maybe you're one of them. Why have folks told us they are thankful for the Mesonet? Because the Mesonet offers them constantly updated weather data from across the state. Data updated every 5 minutes for work, for play, for safety. An easy way to quickly check the weather is to use the main mesonet.org webpage. The maps in the black box show the latest 5-minute Mesonet data. When you bring the page up, the air temperature map comes up. The page will automatically scroll through 4 maps. The second map shows 24-hour rainfall. The maps you'll see today are from earlier this week when a weak system went through. Next, the wind map shows wind direction arrows and average wind speed as a color contour. The fourth map is a composite radar map combining multiple radars. After the radar map, the maps repeat. For farmers and ranchers, the Mesonet Farm Monitor provides a farm view of weather on a single page. You can get there by selecting Agriculture in the top menu bar. Here is what we saw when clicking on Winona in Osage County from earlier this week. On the left side is the Mesonet site name, a time and date stamp, and sunrise and sunset times. Below that are Mesonet weather data that impact farm and ranch operations, air temperature, humidity, rain, wind, and soil temperature. The wind direction indicator is like a large arrowhead. Wind moves from the wide end to the point. In the bottom left panel are brief National Weather Service forecasts covering the next 36 hours. For more detailed forecasts, click on the Forecast tab in the top menu bar. The right panel monitors 10 Mesonet products. These sliders show value range and are color-coded based on level of concern. When colored green, there is no concern. Yellow means things are in a cautionary state. Red means that there is a state of concern and may need attention. To see a product's value, move your mouse over the white slider dot. On a tablet, tap the screen. To make the value box vanish, click or tap the value box. You can use the Farm Monitor to get to a specific product by clicking or tapping the product name. If you click or tap Burning Index, it takes you to the latest Burning Index map. Click or tap Keach-Byram Drought Index and that map pops up. The back button will return you to the Farm Monitor or hit Agriculture in the top menu tab. Mesonet gives you 2 handy ways to keep tabs on Oklahoma's weather, and we hope you're one of those who can soon be thankful for more rain. That's it for this time. We'll see you next time on the Mesonet Weather Report.
Finally today, agriculture students at OSU have an unexpected way of showing support for the troops. Here's SUNUP intern Samantha Smith.
Here in Stillwater, Fridays are generally reserved for your favorite orange shirt. However, in an effort to support the U.S. troops, the Agricultural Communicators of Tomorrow began Red Shirt Orange Friday, an event that allowed them to support both.
Because OSU is so big on wearing orange on Fridays, we were very disappointed because we wanted to support both, and we thought, wow, how could we do that? And Red Shirt Orange Friday is the result of that. It's a way to show our support of the troops and still be Cowboy fans on Friday.
To raise money, the group began selling t-shirts.
We did only about 20 shirts the first time. And then we figured out everybody wanted a shirt like ours, and we thought, well, we don't want to make money for ourselves. So when we sell a shirt, the profits come back, and then it helps us send care packages or other items to the troops. The reason we pick red and not blue is because it's a national movement, and red is significant of remembering everyone deployed. And we think that's important, is to put aside any kind of rivalry with any other school and focus on what's important, and that is supporting our U.S. Armed Forces.
In this 4th year of Red Shirt Orange Friday, the group teamed up with the Stillwater Blue Star Mothers.
Blue Star Mothers is a group of family members of deployed troops or formerly deployed troops, or someone connected to them and wants to support that group. And their main focus is to serve those affected by a deployment.
They're actually the ones that are going to be putting the care packages together and actually sending them overseas. And then we're going to give all of our proceeds from the shirts.
They had names of soldiers they had access to who needed the care packages, and we had the money to help ship the supplies that they had or to help buy more supplies. So we felt like it was a really good partnership.
The impact is felt by soldiers and those who support the event.
As a student, it obviously gives me and others involved a leadership opportunity to participate in Red Shirt Orange Friday, but it also helps me kind of feel at peace knowing that I'm doing my part to help support families in the troops that are supporting the United States.
It's always good to be part of something that's bigger than yourself. And one person individually can't do much about what's going on in Afghanistan or in other parts of the world, but regardless of whether we agree with the battles or the wars that we fight, I think we all believe in the people we send to represent us and to keep us free. And I think that when you participate in Red Shirt Orange Friday, you're showing that not only are you a cowboy fan, but you are a citizen and a believer in what this United States stands for.
To learn more about next year's Red Shirt Orange Friday, visit our link at sunup.okstate.edu.
That'll do it for us this week. Remember, you can see our stories anytime online at sunup.okstate.edu. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We hope you're having a wonderful holiday weekend, and we'll see you next time at SUNUP.